we continue our Toy Story cycle.
Yeah, we are continuing the saga into the Empire Strikes Back of the Toy Story universe.
Yes, which is appropriate with how it
Is it?
begins.
You know these stories better than I do. I just know it's the second one in the trilogy before all the bastardization movies came out later.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, it actually, I think with Toy Story, the real darkness sets in the third one. Like the third one's dark.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But the second one, it starts with like, some Star Wars homage.
Oh yeah.
There's quite a bit of Star Wars homage in Toy
Yep.
Story 2. So, first we'll just say if you've made it this far in our podcast series, thank you.
Yeah.
If you're new, then welcome. We never do have it yet to say, please subscribe and hit like or whatever
Click,
you got to do.
subscribe, whatever the things you're supposed to say on this. Yeah, and this is the first one we're recording since we've actually put out like podcasts onto platforms and stuff, so you can actually listen to the stuff we've had in the can for a while now. So it's kind of fun. It's got some momentum to it, and especially going off the last Toy Story one we did, we're continuing that.
Yeah, and so this one is just to set it in history. This one came out in 1999.
Yep.
I think I saw it in theaters with a bunch of animation students from Cal Arts who all were aspiring to someday, probably went on to make other Pixar movies, frankly.
Yeah.
But this one, okay, so here's the lore as far as I know.
Yeah.
Is that so Pixar was being distributed by Disney. They were not owned by Disney.
Okay.
Disney, up until now, was not in the habit of making sequels for the theaters. They were in the habit of, Jafar's Return and, the other Littlest Mermaid.
Straight to VHS stuff.
Yeah, where the quality was clearly lower, the story quality was clearly lower, there was no marketing, right? It was just sort of like you shunt out this little cash grab.
You show up in Target one day and, there's an Aladdin sequel. That's cool. Yeah. Like, let's get that.
Right. Especially, pre-internet, pre-streaming. If you wanted more of any IP, then that was how you were going to get it. You were going to just grab the thing off the shelf.
Which feels like if you're going to do a shameless cash grab, that's a good way to do it.
It's a classy way to do something somewhat unclassy. So this is relevant because Moana 2 just came out, and it will be old news by the time this hits the internet. But it is apparently cash grabby. Now, I have not seen it. We will, I'm sure, watch it and do a breakdown of it. But the story is with Toy Story 2. It was a direct-to-video in form, because that was the strategy, a direct-to-video little cash grab for Toy Story 1.
Okay.
I have no idea if this is true or not, but this was the lore at the time.
Okay.
And so I would love to find out. And if not, it's always fun to just spread lore.
Misinformation.
And, let me just get that out. Like, I love spreading misinformation. If we've just been flagged, no one will see this podcast.
Yeah, right. We just got taken off YouTube.
So then the story is that once the distributors and executives and whatnot saw what they were cooking up, they said, wait, this is really good. We got to, fuel this thing with the money necessary to bring it up to the level that it deserves for a theatrical release. And it came out, and then it was a huge hit. And lots of people at the time were like, it's even better than the first one, which I think people frequently say because they just don't remember how good the first one was.
Right.
But, so I will say, I do not think Toy Story 2 is better than Toy Story 1.
Yeah.
But I think it's excellent. And in the realm of sequels, I think it's one of the best sequels ever made.
It's bold.
Yeah, that's right. I'll stick that out there.
Yeah.
Change my mind. So some of the pitfalls that happen to sequels. So frequently what happens, and chime in what you think. Like, what are the things that come to mind when you think of like, where do sequels inevitably err?
Well, they just get derivative of the first one. So, hey, remember that cool thing we did before that everyone loved? Like, let's do that again. And
let's do it again, or we'll do it again and we'll do it twice, or we'll do it harder.
Or we'll do it bigger. We'll just scale it up, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And or same story, we add a new character in. It feels like a rehash is a big thing. I the thing I always complain about all the new sequels that come out with some of these kids movies is like the story's told. Does it really need to be done? A lot of these movies, like we're breaking down, they're based on ancient myths and fairy tales and things that have been around a while. And now it's like you're just going to take your modern extension of that and you could feel it. It doesn't.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't have the gravitas.
Yeah. When you go, okay, Hans Christian Andersen, let me tell it again, but better. Yeah.
Let me give my interpretation of it and put it at the same level of it, and it's not.
Yeah. It just doesn't fly. So I think the derivative thing. The other thing is that things become kind of like incestuous with sequels. Like the world just stays contained and like goes in on itself, kind of.
Yeah.
Or they'll do things that are like completely character breaking, where it's like, in this one Woody's evil or something, and it's like, all right, I don't think so, and this one he's out to kill Andy.
It's completely a different character, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, okay, well, that's like jumping the shark, where it's like, you have just broken all the rules of your previous
Toy Story
worlds.
2, it expands the universe. It expands the universe. It's a very Toy Story 1 is Andy's room, Pizza Planet for a hot minute, and his neighbor's room. So, and then the street that they live on at the end, right?
Yeah.
And this is the airport and a giant building and a giant Toy Story and
they get out into the world and they interact with, in the first one, the grand sin was, we might be seen by a person. And in this one, they go, okay, we're going out into the world. We're going to interact with lots of people. There's a lot of potential to disrupt the human world, which you mustn't do. And they inevitably do, and they get out there, and they like the scene with where they're messing up traffic and all that stuff. It's great. So some of that, I wonder if it's the expansion of their technological ability, but some of it is just these writers, and I'll gush about the writing some more later, but they took every single trap that a sequel falls into, and they intentionally either inverted it or just completely sidestepped it. And so, Jessie is not just a knockoff Woody. Like they didn't just sort of make another Woody. She's a complete character. And a buddy, what's the horse's name? Is it Buddy?
Bullseye.
Bullseye, that's right. Bullseye Buddy's the dog.
Yeah.
Bullseye's not
Slinky's
just Buddy.
The dog.
Well, Slinky's the toy dog, but the
Buddy's
actual
their
canine.
real dog. Yeah.
Which, again, brilliant that they have an actual wiener dog, and then also the misdirect with like hiding from him, like he's going to just destroy the toys. And it's like, no, at the beginning of this movie, to just jump right into the analysis, at the beginning of this movie, we see like the city of Athens or the garden or whatever you want to call the playroom, capital P, is in complete harmony. It's an utter synthesis. They are in harmony with the baby sister. The toys have even divided, right? So like Bo is now in the next room, and like who knows what her little kingdom's like, and like the kingdom of playroom is in the synthesis. All the toys get along, the dog gets along. Like there's complete harmony, and then enter the snake, right? So in this one, the what it seems to me, the hubris again with this structure where toys have a purpose. Their purpose is to love and be loved by their god kid. But mortality enters the picture. We see Woody start to realize that he's not going to be forever. He, that stitching comes loose, and it's not quite, the aging gunfighter story,
right?
But it's this idea where he goes, oh my goodness, like my purpose is not going to be eternal,
right? Well, that's set up by the Wheezy, the little squeak toy that is like getting ready to get thrown out. They're coming up on a garage sale. He's got to choose which toys you're going to get rid of, and the reality that these things don't last forever really gets pushed on you, and then really gets pushed on you in Toy Story 3.
And so in this one, he gets shelved, right? So he gets put up there. It's all dusty. Wheezy's back there. Mom has, deceived Andy about the fate of this toy. So we start going like, can we trust these gods? And are we just serving despotic, fickle gods?
Are they eventually going to just cast you out anyway because they have no more use for you?
yeah, they're going to cast you out. Like, what is your purpose? He's abandoned, right? So the thing he looks forward to the most all of his life is cowboy camp, and his Andy abandons him seemingly.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're
And
broken, so you're no good.
it's got a very childlike feel too, because I think like going to cowboy camp, Woody looks forward to this every year. How old's Andy in this movie? 12? He's maybe gone to this thing 4 years with him, right? That feels like an eternity for the toy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then it's kind of recognizing like these things are short lived. Like this thing you've looked forward to, it's happened like 4 times maybe. But that's his whole world. And now that world is being hinted at might be coming to an end.
Yeah, yeah. For the first time, he's realizing either I'm going to come to an end or Andy's going to get rid of me.
Yeah.
And so it prompts that question. And so Bo immediately says, like, look at your foot, whose name is written there.
Yeah.
Which is the same, so there in Andianity and in Christianity, you've got like the name is written on you. You are property. You have been bought. You've been ransomed for a price, right? So that's the symbol at work here. Yeah. And so she reminds him of what his proper posture in the universe, but then he gets sucked up into this accidental situation where he gets put with the rubbish. He goes out for the yard sale, which is this shameful place for toys to wind up, and he intentionally positions himself out there to try and rescue. Is he rescuing Wheezy?
Yeah.
So Andy or Woody again demonstrating like the self-sacrifice to go out there, put himself out there, and he gets snatched. So he's in this place where he's questioning his value.
Yep.
And then along comes this other thing to go, oh, you are of extremely high value. Let me like honor you and worship you,
Yeah.
Woody's pride is going, where is my value? Is my value in Andy, or is it my value in how I am going to delineate value, and particularly in like fiscal value? Where is my
Barnyard
worth?
Al, the toy collector? This is a rare toy. You don't realize how much you're worth.
Right. So he then gets pulled into this sort of other cult, like this other. It's another playroom. It's another religious order with its own human and its own setup and all that stuff. So he gets pulled into this other world, and it makes me think of like, if you're like a little sheltered, suburban, religious kid, and you go away to, to get your like liberal arts degree. And suddenly you're...
All of a sudden, this belief structure is very different, and the value structures are...
Yeah. All the value structures invert. And then like when Pete is interrogating him about his Andy and about his broken arm and all that stuff, he's like, but do you have an answer for this? Do you have an answer for that? And Woody's like, no, I do. I have an answer. It's complicated. Like, it sounds like he just cast you out. He doesn't love you, and it's like sitting in your first AP biology class or whatever, and someone's coming after you.
Yeah.
And so,
well, it's also interesting too because, like you said, it's another playroom, but it's twisted. It's not a child's playroom. It's an overgrown adult who is still playing with kids, who is at this very like, oh, how much things cost level, but he's got falls asleep eating Cheetos, and it doesn't feel like this is a good thing. This is a playroom that is life and growth. Feels like it's sucking the life out of you and things are withering, even though he's taking care of the intricacies and all the physical needs of all the toys, right? He'll be pristinely kept in this box.
Yeah. He'll maintain vanity, he'll maintain appearances.
Yeah.
The value
at
structure
the expense of your true purpose.
Right, because he's got a sense of what the true purpose of toys for him is: making money.
Yeah.
Like either through the toy store or through this collection that he's going to sell to this museum. So his, in each one of these little playrooms, these little microcosms, they are ruled over by the value structure of that like deity. It sort of projects down into their playroom, right? So Andy's a benevolent deity, and Al is this sort of vain, self-serving, greedy microcosm. And so this is where we find, his little cadre of worshipers, right? His little people live in there. And so...
Yeah. The greedy Toy Story owner, that's an interesting, like, character. The one who is in position to bring toys and joy to children, but instead is only out for like how can he line his pockets doing that.
Yeah, how can he exploit
Yeah.
toys?
Yeah.
So what he can do, and some of it reminds me of like Pleasure Island a little bit in
Mm-hmm.
Pinocchio, where it's like, hey, we're going to give you all this stuff. We're going to put you in this case. We're going to fix you up. We're going to get rid of your bald spot. We're restoring your
Yeah.
youth. And like, isn't this beautiful and fun? And you're surrounded
Yeah.
with toys. And Woody gets to go in there, and somewhat in reversal from Buzz from the first movie, he comes in starting as a toy who
Yeah.
has a purpose, an aligned
Yeah.
purpose.
Now you're
And
getting
then
elevated back into your packaging.
yeah, oh, I'm a show.
Yeah.
I was famous. Like I could be immortal. And I
Yeah.
think she actually says it to him. She says,
Jessie?
you're, because his whole thing is like, who am I? Am I Andy's or am I Woody's Roundup?
Yeah.
And she says, you are a rare toy and toys don't last forever. And she says, man, that you can be immortal in this museum display.
Yeah.
And then he even says, like, you're going to be loved by millions of kids.
Right.
But
never played with.
Really, it means you're not really loved by any of them.
Right. Right.
Which is this great
irony. You're admired by millions of kids. You're seeing, oh, look at this guy, but like you're in a display, you're never played with, you're never taken out, you're never like all the in order to do that, you sacrifice all the things that give you purpose, all the things that give life joy and meaning. Your
meaning and texture.
Connection with Andy that will eventually come to an end.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's great is when his friends show up to rescue him, and he's already achieved this sort of reversal. He encounters Jessie's story, and Jessie's story is the story of a relationship with a tragic deity figure. She's totally in love, totally devoted, and then her deity just moves on.
Yeah,
and it's almost reminiscent of like Susan in C.S. Lewis in the Chronicles of Narnia, how she like falls out of love with Narnia and falls in love with lipstick and cocktail parties or whatever. So she leaves behind the magical things for something just a little more
sophisticated, right?
Vanity, right?
Yeah.
Which is essentially what they're asking Woody to do.
Mm-hmm.
Is why don't you move on before your deity moves on?
Yeah.
And like doing to others before they can do unto you.
Right.
So then he goes, you know what? This sentence, because
it's interesting because that it's already like at the beginning, it's already set up with the inevitability that your deity will move on from you.
Yeah.
That is inevitable. Like he's not going to cowboy camp forever. Like there was this garage sale where this is taken out, and then it takes it to the even more extension in Toy Story 3. Your kid will move on. Like this is not forever.
Yeah, it's not forever. And that's, at some point as people, we recognize like, oh, like my good and loving God has put an expiration date on this experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I forget who said it, but like life is deadly serious. No one makes it out alive. And so that's sort of the realization that Woody's in the midst of. Like not only am I going to get destroyed, but like I might not even be loved. Right. And so he makes this, he talks himself into the idea that it's self-sacrificial, that he's really doing this for Jessie and Pete and for Bullseye. Yeah. But really, there's like, it's appealing to that hubris, that pride.
The ego,
Yeah. So that when the toys show up and you've got the second Buzz and they need to be able to tell which one's which.
Yeah.
The real Buzz, the one that has achieved true toyness, which is humanity, is able to operate with reason and rationality. And then he reveals that he has, the mark of Andy on him. And that's how we know, oh, you're the human, you're the self-actualized toy because you have been marked by Andy. You have a relationship with your kid. And so therefore you're real, right? Which is so rife with symbolism. And it's an amazing gag when he like pops the helmet. Like it's so well done because it's a callback without being like a wah like homage. It fits in to the context of the story and the action they created. Let's see. So he abandons his personal purpose to last forever and to be adored, which ironically means he's not actually personally loved by anyone. But then in that moment, they remind him where he belongs. And in that moment of reminding, which is in community, right? Which is again like. And this is where Toy Story 3 also really shines, is like his purpose is in community.
Yeah.
Adored and adoring his person.
Right.
And in that moment, he's able, full of like a return to his faith, as it were, he's able to turn to the other toys and say, come along. Like this is great. Like if you would step out in faith, like Jesse's been burned, but if you'd step out, it's going to be great. Yeah. And he's like, and he's got a little sister. Like it's there's going to be more than one kid even. Like we're coming into a family. So she's going to go. And then Pete reveals himself, right? So in the face of love and all that, he reveals his complete pride, his hardened heart, and his like resentment and hatred of children. Yeah. Like he's it's not that he just doesn't have a relationship with his kid. It's like, I actually hate kids.
Right.
And I don't want them playing with me. Screw those kids. Like I'm going to go and I'm going to get
I have the capacity to be immortalized as the rare toy that I am. Yeah. And I'm taking that, and I will take you with me against your will in order to achieve that.
Yeah. And we'll show those kids, like, I'll achieve my place.
Yeah. And Woody's got this choice too between like the family that's set up for him within the Woody's Roundup universe, like Jessie and Bullseye and Pete, like these pieces are supposed to go together, and the fact they're a set is something so special, right? But you as the viewer coming through this, like Woody's true family, despite like all the cowboy backstory that's there, is the other toys in Andy's room. And then he invites them back to them, and not everyone from there is going to want to make that journey with him.
Yeah.
They're just going to want to make that jump. So it is bringing the families together, but it's even still like not everyone will accept that invitation.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what's interesting, what you just said, that made me think of, if you were going to judge who he belonged with by his like external immutable qualities, you'd go, oh, Woody belongs. His tribe is Woody's Roundup.
Yeah.
But we know that tribalism is not a very functional way that exists in community. Right. And like, oh no, his true community is over here amongst this like complete potpourri of creatures. Right. Yeah, hodgepodge. But they're all united in purpose.
Yeah.
And so your tribe is not your immutable.
They're all the ones who are marked by Andy, not because they all were characters from the same TV show.
Yes. And I can say from my own life, the times where I have experienced the most, and I don't even want to use the word diversity because I think it gets abused, but like a university where there are many of us and we are all completely different, but we're all one, is when we're united in purpose. Yeah. And not when we're trying to unite according to a title or even a family name or even whatever, or a skin tone or a
it's
city
certainly
of origin.
Not a stick to your own message.
Yeah,
it's quite the opposite of it.
And the e pluribus unum, and then like the idea of university is like, oh, we're all completely different and totally unique from one another, but under Andy, we all get to be one, and then and then your diversity is your strength. And so we see that Woody is going like, hey, Woody's Roundup's not the family. Like over here is the family. Right. And Pete is so
that will eventually end because going with that family means accepting your mortality, bringing it full circle. Like that's the painful part about that choice is willingness to accept and bearing your cross. That ultimately you'll have to go that way where like he is going to leave. You'll eventually be completed your purpose and faith that there's something better on the other side.
Right.
Versus this version of mortality where you're just encased in a display on a shelf and admired but never played with.
Yeah, and this idea that the point of existence is your personal happiness, your personal accomplishment. That's the point. And
how much people admire you, right?
Yes. Which
even then, I think, because even then it's fleeting. There's the idea that like that's going to last forever. When no, it won't. How long are people going to go to a toy display for Woody's Roundup? Like you're going to have one run of that, and then that's going to be done.
Right.
That's the lie that Pete buys into. Is like, this is my path to immortality. But even then, like ultimately, like immortality doesn't exist. Like you're a toy. It's going to decay. It's going to fall apart.
Well, in a world where you have decided that any kind of relationship with something divine is despicable and horrendous, and you're filled with malice where you want revenge on them, then that tepid form of immortality is kind of the best thing you got.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it's kind of the only show in town. Once you've eliminated, if you've decided joy is not an option, then personal accomplishment is all I can pursue. And it reminds me of there's a speech at the Golden Globes where this actress was expressing her gratitude for having, gotten an abortion, because being a single mom, or even not a single mom, but a mom, would have ruined her career. Like, she wouldn't have been able to get this award. And so what's fitting is, like, right now, I can't even remember her name. I have no idea what her name is, and I have no idea what she won the award for. So, like, that award's already fleeting. And she made the choice that Pete made, which is, like, I am going to choose my advancement and my passion and my glorification over choosing, like, relationship and joy.
Focus on, like, look what I have accomplished.
Yeah.
And not that this accomplishment is in service of something higher. It's just like, look, I did it. Look at me.
Right. Yeah. So now she's got, look, I did it. Look at me. And all I can think is, like, man, you could have had a human that adored you.
Yeah.
And that would remember your name right now, which I don't.
Oh, I mean, but that's the treasures on Earth. You got it. Cool. Enjoy it. Like, that's Pete in Toy Story 2. Say he got it, and they all were on display. Like, cool. You got it. Enjoy it. It's going to last probably a run at some kids' museums, and that's it.
Yeah,
like,
and then when Tokyo's done with you,
then you're not. Yeah. Then you got nothing left.
Right. Then you go in the dumpster.
Right.
Out where there's gnashing of teeth. Right. So he shows his true colors, and then, like, the adventure's on. It turns into an action movie at that point, and we're just resolving the character arcs at that point. And and so the one last real piece of symbolism is, they all get home. They get back, they hide, they present the surprise for Andy. Here we are, we're in humility, submitted to mortality. We're gonna live for our, he says, life's only worth living if you're being loved by a kid. So they all dedicate to that purpose. They realign the purpose like they did at the end of Toy Story 1. And then when Andy comes in, he says, like, he fixes his arm. He does it himself. It looks all bulgy and, like, muscly, right? And it's got, like, a story behind it. And he says that he's so glad he decided not to take him to camp because his arm would have come completely off. And so what we discover is what seemed like, and this is, bringing it back to, like, personal relationship with the divine, is frequently I will ascribe to the gods capriciousness or malice or something. And really what it was is there was a reason behind it. Andy left Woody because his arm would have fallen off. He was going to come back the whole time and fix him and love him.
Okay, but he didn't come back and fix him. He got fixed because he was part of part of going through his journey of temptation was where he got fixed.
Well, so then Pete pulls the stitches back out, right, when they're fighting. And so when Andy gets home, he's broken. So Andy refixes him in his own way, and it's sloppy. It's with the wrong color thread, and it makes his arm bulge, and so Bo's holding it like it's muscles. And it's like a cool scar.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
But it's Andy's scar, right? It's the one that he got. It's the mark of his return and submission to this thing, right? And so he finds out, like, oh, my personal deity there, it wasn't capricious at all. And then, every character gets their arc. Yeah. Even Wheezy gets his arc. Everybody comes back.
Because it's an interesting that they put these together. From the very beginning, there's the inevitability, I keep coming back to this, that, like, this will end. Andy grows up, what happens to Toy Story 3, or, like, they get thrown out in the garage sale. Their time is limited. Their mortality is evident. And also, there's the possibility of resurrection, of getting renewed. Wheezy is on the outs, and he's back at the end. Eventually, he's still going to go down like all of them, but, like, there's still this, like, continual process until the ultimate end at it all.
Yeah. Yeah, and when we get to Toy Story 3, the way it resolves is so perfect. Like, it really completes this arc and this message of devotion to purpose, and and relation to the divine. It really, really completes, which then when you get to Toy Story 4, it completely eradicates it.
Yeah, then they give the middle finger to all that.
It's a whole different experiment that they're playing in Toy Story 4. But this part of the arc is like it was almost like retesting the pride that had to be tested in Toy Story 1 with a new test that's even more intense, which is part of the like structure of the heroic journey. Is you have a flaw, you learn your lesson, and then you get tested to see if you really learned your lesson. And then, in this sequel, they come up with a new way to test his pride in a new form from a new direction.
Yeah.
And so it really beautifully melds with the first one. And, just to gush about the filmmaking, like, so this one, the world is already established in the first one. So in our discussion of Toy Story 1, we were talking about the world and the microcosm and like how it's all set up so much. This one, because the world is already so established, it's a lot simpler, I think, in a lot of ways than Toy Story 1. But the filmmaking is just consummate filmmaking. And so
the world, it's simpler in that they don't have to do all the exposition of the world and how it works and all that. Okay.
Yeah. And they introduce the Woody's Roundup idea, but really it's sort of like it's building out the background of Woody's Buzz Lightyear journey. Right. So he has this parallel journey with Buzz Lightyear, and but like the thing they do, and I can't possibly praise the writers enough and the storyboard artists and everyone who came together to make this, because like when you're and I don't think screenwriters are taught this anymore, but the ideal is that any single line of dialogue either advances the plot, develops a character, or makes a joke. And if you can do more than one of those with a single line of dialogue, great. And this movie almost always is doing all three of those things with any line of dialogue. Certainly any like conversation. And every single transition is also doing all three of those. The transition's advancing the film, and it's usually developing a character somehow, and it's funny. Like, I feel like you could definitely use all three Toy Story movies, and there are only three, to teach a class for a whole semester. But I almost feel like you could just take Toy Story 2 and just go through it like scene by scene, dialogue piece by dialogue piece, transition by transition, and just go like, this is masterful. Like, there's nothing in that movie that
what do you say? I'm getting a little screenwriting lesson here. So let's develop a character, advance the plot, tell a joke.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And so when you watch shows and movies and stuff now, I don't know if it's that the development cycle is so fast.
Yeah.
Or they don't hire enough writers, or they just don't teach this anymore.
Yeah,
so
don't
people
care.
aren't looking to try and do this with their edits, because obviously you can't do it first draft like out of the can. But, it's that refining process that makes, especially movies from this era, like in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. I really feel like they had like, the hero's journey and the hero with 1,000 faces had made the rounds. The standard for cinema was high.
Yeah.
The independent market was bringing in fresh talent that had been nerding out over this stuff, and so the fineness, the resolution of the craft was so tight. Like when you watch movies from the 90s and the early 2000s, you can't look away, because if you look away, you're going to miss something that was totally integral to the plot. And they're not going to explain it; they're just going to show it, and it's gone.
I do remember so many times with like friends, or like you show a friend a movie you love and you're like, wait, don't miss this line, don't miss this thing, because like you're gonna miss something, right? And as you're saying that, like, maybe I'm just not watching movies intensely, I don't love the movies or have the attachment to them, but like I feel like a lot of movies I can just step out on and come back in and see what's happening next, and don't feel like I miss much. And if you and some character is going to explain it to you. That's, and so some of that might be the overlap of TV writers coming into movies and or whatever. But no, I was thinking of like, I love the Chris Nolan movie Inception, but the one Ellen Page character, her whole role is just to be the one who they explain everything to, because like that movie needs a ton of explanation. Like Joseph Gordon-Levitt character is the one who just like, I'm gonna explain like every detail of this whole complicated thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like it feels like you see that more and more, where all these characters' roles, like you have a character, their whole role is like this is the exposition person,
Right.
which it's fine. It's kind of cool in that movie because it's so complicated and kind of requires it, but like
yeah,
it does it. It's not great storytelling. It's on the nose.
Yeah, because the thing that you want is to show and not tell, and a lot of that art I think is just missing. And I don't know if they're not teaching it, or they're not grading it, or there's just so many things being made you can't possibly spend the time to craft that, because it's harder, it takes longer. The idea of universality. Like, I don't know, and I was taught that in film school. Like, universal experiences, universal truths, relate something intensely personal because other people have experienced it as well. And it takes courage, but it also takes being encouraged to be vulnerable in that way as an artist.
You have to be, but you have to be plugged into those experiences. You have to be connected to your own experiences with that. And if your only focus is, let's just write some cool story with blasters and explosions and lightsabers or whatever, like, it will always ring hollow.
Yeah. It's almost like everybody telling the stories are now Pete, and they're just taking their malaise and their resentment and pushing it out into the world and expecting the aggrandizement in return.
So what's the villain comeuppance for Pete here?
The villain comeuppance, do you remember it?
He becomes the dog toy?
No, so he's
his sister's toy, right?
Well, it's even worse, right? So his whole thing is that he's pristine and he's perfect, and he wants to be maintained in immortal perfection forever.
Right.
And he hates children.
And he gets the roughest children's job you possibly could.
He gets sent to this little girl who she's an artist, and and she has completely disfigured this Barbie doll, and you just know that he's going to get absolutely maimed and loved, right? Like, that's the thing. Like, that's
loved is the plaything, and like, you're going to get drawn on, you're going to get torn up, you're going to get chewed on, you're going to get all these things, right? It's part of you're getting the full played with experience and all the painful messiness that comes with it.
And what's awesome about that comeuppance is, like, in scripture, love is talked about at times as a refining fire. Like, love is sometimes awful in like the true meaning of that word.
It
like,
hurts.
Love is this consuming thing that happens
in the face
to
of
you.
sin. Love is the pain of hell.
Yes, when you're consumed with resentment and pride and bitterness, to be deeply loved is awful. And so it's not like he's being subjected to torture. He's just being subjected to torture for him and the posture of his heart. So I imagine a world where, and it's almost like a purgatory, right? Like, you're going to go here until you serve your time and you come out loving.
Theoretically, there's a possibility he comes out and has embraced his new role as the child's ripped up thing and grateful for it, right?
And so had he learned his lesson in life, like, this is the purgatory idea, then you would have just gone on as you were. Like, the refining would have happened in life. But now in his, like, new sort of afterlife, his, like, spiritual place that he's cast off to, like, you will be refined whether you like it or not.
Right.
So it's a
and everything that's unacceptable will be cut away, and if it's all unacceptable, then good luck.
And so it's almost like she's like a benevolent Sid.
That's good.
And so just that, what a neat comeuppance. Like, it's nuanced and clever. Like, it didn't just fall into a pit and get grinded up. Like, it's like, no, we know what to do with you. And so great villain comeuppance.
So okay, you made the argument. So as one of the best is, you said there's 3 Toy Stories. So if you look at it through that lens, do you consider this a trilogy?
Hands down.
It doesn't fit a second story in a trilogy where it has this open-ended ending. Like, these all work as standalone movies.
Right. Well, and I think that is part of the definition of trilogy, is that they're interconnected, but they also stand alone. But I might be incorrect about that.
That doesn't work with Empire, though. Like, Empire ends on a big cliffhanger.
Yeah. Like, they made Empire knowing that they were making Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, well, I feel like that's not what happens. Is first movie standalone.
Right. Yeah.
Massive success. All right, we greenlight 2 more, and now those ones kind of stick together, right?
And I don't know that they knew they were going to make a Toy Story 3.
No, it didn't.
Because it wasn't,
right.
It at the time, it wasn't the model.
Yeah.
It wasn't automatic the way it is now.
Like, I mean, it works. They work as consecutive stories and expand and go into all those things. And then complaints about 4, which stay tuned for those episodes.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no, it's I love hearing you gush on these ones. You can tell you really love them, and they mean something. And like, I don't know, you bring up just great level of depth on a lot of on these stories.
Yeah, thanks, man. These I don't know why these they just hit a certain note. And look, this might be a lot of projection, but I really feel
happens, right? Like, I mean, it's the universal topics that you bring up are the things that call to you in that, and then in that universal, like there's these universal experiences that they talk about. It leaves you room to project your own experiences and your own things that resonate in your life, which is why even certain parts of them, it's the Rorschach test of these stories. Like the way you're drawn to something in Toy Story, I click with something in Lion King. Like, what does that say about each of our experiences? And maybe we'll do a psychological analysis of each of us one of these, so you guys can get the some of the insights there. But that's what happens to each person in these stories.
Yeah, and I think a story well told that is reaching for something universal, or at least expressing something vulnerably.
Yeah,
that's universal.
Yeah,
is that it is going to invite adaptation and internalization by the audience.
Which is why, like, on a lower level, you'll get like cult classics where it's like for people of a certain disposition or experience or whatever, like, they love it and it really resonates around something there. Or fan fiction, like they take a certain part of it and then they kind of make it their own in that, right? It's not at the higher level of the original, but there's something that they're working out in their own experience and wanting to bring to. Which is one of the amazing things about the Star Wars series. I mean, the amount of fan fiction that's come out of that, right? And they're all lower entities or stories in and of themselves, but when the higher thing is so powerful that it creates such a breadth and because lots of stories have like giant worlds that you could expand upon and do that, but what is it about these things that really calls that out of people? Again, we could dig into that for a while.
And I think that's part of why it's such a shame to see them get corrupted. Is because they have this, it's almost like the danger of making such a compelling world is that it'll get corrupted, which I guess was the danger of making any world, if we're going to stay in like a religious
or the inevitability that it will get corrupted, right?
Yeah, the inevitability that it will get corrupted, and then is it possible to reconcile it, or does it have to just get destroyed?
Sure. Which
sets us up so delightfully for Toy Story 3. And I'm curious, because I'm excited for when this Toy Story cycle like hits the internet. I'm hoping by now we've got at least a couple hundred or a few hundred people that are interested.
At least there's like a handful of people watching. Probably not, but we'll see.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But I would love to, either there's a way to contact us by now, like hit us with messages, something like push back on this. I'm interested in in the dialogue because. Look, we're laymen, we're dads. We just have a passion for this stuff.
Yeah.
And so,
But it would be cool. I mean, it's because I consider it a cynical take on these things. Maybe there is something that we're not seeing in that. Like, that pushback is definitely invited. And I think, like, you can always, I think that putting forth even what I would consider a cynical take on these stories is part of the depth of discussion that comes around them. So, we'll invite it.
Yeah. Would love it. Yeah.
Cool.
So, everyone, y'all already know what's next.
Yep.
We're gonna do Toy Story 3.
Look out for that next.
Yep.
We'll see when these start cranking out. But hope you've enjoyed it up to this point. Let us know. But yeah, thanks everyone. We'll see you next time.
All right, later.